Yeah. Well, look, mindset, any setback is just a step to success. So if you're having setbacks, then it just means you're going forward. I know that sounds kind of cliche, but it's true. Like every time I hear a no when I'm prospecting, it just means I'm one step closer to that you take a lot of time to give me no. Just tell me no, or like whatever, hang up in my face so I can get on to the next call. You just saved me maybe 2-3 minutes of talking to him. So I'm on to the next call. I mean, so like that's one thing that I try to keep in mind, like the steps to success. But then also having a really good goal and a reason why you do this. Like I do this for my family. I do this because before I kick the bucket, I want to make sure that I'm like I said what I had to say and I did what I have to do.
Hi, I'm Noelle with today's Brew, where top producing real estate agents share their tips and tricks on taking more listings, making more money, and having fun doing it. On today's episode, we welcome Andre Martel from Montreal, Canada. Hey, Andre, how are you?
Pretty good, yourself?
I am great. Thank you for joining us today.
Well, you're very welcome. Thanks for having me on. I'm thrilled to be here and to be able to share with your audience.
Absolutely. So tell us a little bit about your area and what the market is like.
So Montreal, Canada, for anybody that doesn't know, it's on the east side of Canada, right above New York. So maybe 4 or 5 hours from New York. And the market here has been pretty much the same as it's been everywhere else in the world. It was like this during COVID, then rates went up, and then it started getting more challenging. I'll put it that way. A good thing that I like to keep in mind is, the market doesn't dictate your results. It just dictates how hard you have to work to get there. So like I always like to say, and I want to say this, whether I'm thinking it to myself or when I'm saying it out loud, it just got more challenging, and then that's it.
Yeah, absolutely. So how long have you been an agent?
So I've been an agent for 14 years. Okay. So I'm not I didn't start yesterday. I started right out of school. So I had a friend, I was calling a friend when I was finishing up college, and I was telling him actually that I owed him money and I couldn't pay him back or something like that. He said, yeah, no problem. By the way, I'm doing real estate. I think you should do it too. I think you'd be good at it. And I was like, yeah, I never thought about doing real estate as, a broker, but I'll try it out. So I looked into it. And then the last semester of university, I did real estate at night, and then got my diploma, and then started the next day, and that's it. So I started when I was 24, and now I'm 38, and that's it.
All right. So what did that first couple of years look like for you? Did you do everything right off the bat, make tons of money?
Well, I made enough to get me interested. So I think I did 20 deals in the first year, which when you're 24 years old and you're making like more than 100,000, and 100,000 in 2010 is a lot of money. So I was just like, oh, this is interesting. And I remember my first commission for $12,000, and I was like, yeah, I think we can do this. I think this is interesting. And that's it. Ultimately, it's been pretty much an upward like growth since then. I had my best year probably in 2020, I believe. Okay. And the last few years it's got a little harder. But last year, one of the things that I did was like, look, let's start from scratch. One not distraction, but one thing I did do a lot of is my partner and I developed and built a lot of real estate when I started. So I probably bought my first building when it was about 2012, 2013. And my goal was always to buy to keep. So I bought upwards of 20 buildings, and now I still own and operate 17 of them. So I have 68 units that bring in like over like $1.34 million of passive income. And that was something that I really focused on. And I had this thirst to get more buildings and like build more. And like, I built my house and like all this kind of stuff. So I had that.
Well, I'm already impressed, and we're only a couple minutes into this interview. Very impressive. So your best year, 2020, what was your best year look like?
So 2020, we had 170 pending and closed, 170 deals pending and closed. 146 were closed, and there was like, I don't know, the balance pending.
Oh my goodness.
And then last year there was about 130 pending closed. So I thought it was kind of like a little bit of a downward thing. But again, That was nobody's fault. It wasn't the market's fault. It was my fault. And I've taken that 100% to heart, and things are on the right, like the road back now. So it's interesting.
If you can evaluate yourself like that and your strengths and weaknesses, you'll go far forever.
I hope so.
No, you definitely will. So what does your day look like when you get up in the morning? Because I'm sure the phone is ringing on your end if you're doing that many deals, but who are you calling?
So like my schedule, if I talk about that first, is for this year, what I'm aiming to do is get up at 3:30 in the morning. I always get up at 4, like 3:59, just because I thought 4 was lame. So I got up at 3:59 and then started my day. What I've been trying to do is just peel that back just a little bit so I can get to the gym at 4. But I do work out for about an hour. I'm back home. I then shower, get ready. It takes 45 minutes or so. I spend some time with my family. I have a little baby boy of a year and a half, and my wife is pregnant with our second that we're going to have in April. And then I start doing some administrative work, start responding to emails. And I'm generally at the office by 7, either role playing with somebody or I'm doing a meeting. Like I have meetings, business meetings that are not like I have a team meeting, and then I have like a meeting with my partner to kind of overview everything that we're doing. And then I'm on the phones at 8:30. I'm wishing everybody happy birthday. That is their birthday, that either my circle of influence or past clients. It's kind of like a joke now because I call my past clients for their birthday before their mother does. And I'm like, I did that another year. So that's generally what I do from 8:30 to 9. And it's great. I mean, it starts the day in a really good way. I get to speak to people that are super happy about it being their birthday. And it kind of like, it starts my day off.
It's brilliant. It's brilliant.
I got that from Masterminding with an agent called Fisher. He's in Toronto and Vancouver. Anyways, really good tip. And I've been doing it religiously ever since. And then 9, I start like lead follow-up. I start maybe for sale by owners or like the hot stuff that has happened that day or leads that I need to get to. And then 9:30, 10, I go back into database, which is not something I did a lot of before, but I'm more into serving my database. 11, I have a meeting with my assistant, Louis, which is right over there. She's right there. And then 11:30 eats, and then 12 o'clock, I try to have my first appointment. 1, I want to have my second appointment. And then if I have to, I'll take one at 2, but I want to be done by 3:30 so I can either get back on the phones here at my office, do some just listed, just sold, like around calls, or go door knocking, which I love to do. Even during the winter, I love to door knock. So,
well, you're hitting all your sources, and the door knocking definitely mixes it up a little bit. That's your day is impressive. I mean, what time do you go to bed at night?
Yeah, so it's like maybe my schedule will change with the time when my kids get older and they start wanting to watch movies or do something like a little bit later, but. So I get home at 5. I want to be home at 5 or 5:30. It's the best part of my day because like my kids like, yeah. And so I have dinner with my wife and her mom. And that's also like super good part of my day, the favorite part of my week actually. And generally I'm in bed by like 7:30.
Hey.
Yeah.
My
wife, my kid, everybody, her mom, everybody's in bed at that time. So it doesn't really make a difference because we all kind of wake up at the same time. Like the mom's up at 4 when I'm up, and like,
gosh, goodness. Well, that's a full day for sure. All right. So you already seem like you have a pretty great mindset, but for agents that maybe struggle a little bit, what's some advice you could give them?
Yeah. Well, look, mindset, any setback is just a step to success. So if you're having setbacks, then it just means you're going forward. I know that sounds kind of cliche, but it's true. Like every time I hear a no when I'm prospecting, it just means I'm one step closer to that yes. And actually the worst no that I can get is a no that you take a lot of time to give me no. Just tell me no, or like whatever, hang up in my face so I can get on to the next one. All that hangs up in my face, I'm totally cool with it. You just saved me maybe 2-3 minutes of talking to him. So I'm on to the next call. I mean, so like that's one thing that I try to keep in mind, like the steps to success. Then also having a really good goal and a reason why you do this. Like I do this for my family. I do this because before I kick the bucket, I want to make sure that I'm like I said what I had to say and I did what I have to do. Like,
no, you do not. No, that's something you definitely don't get.
Yeah.
So you and I were messaging earlier about today's meetup, and you had gone on an appointment. Was that a listing appointment?
One of the big things that I had to learn, and my partner also during our investment career, is how to discuss with tenants to have them leave and for it to be a win-win. We're not like kicking them out, but we have to negotiate with them for them to leave. And I don't know if you know the types of personality styles, but this tenant was definitely a driver. He wanted to kick me out. I showed up there. He wanted me to leave immediately. And then after that, so he asked me to leave. And then after that, he said he'd never do a deal with me. And then 4 or 5 minutes later, we were making a deal. And then I was back here at the office texting you. So it turned out really good. Like
and I'm going to go with your driver as well. Yeah. Very much so. I'm amiable, although people like to argue and say I'm a driver, and I always argue back and say I'm amiable. So I'm a mixture in there somewhere. I've taken a lot of the tests and everything, but I still think amiable. I'm a sucker.
Well, honestly, I think amiables are probably the best in Montreal. If I have to, I won't say names, but like the top brokers are amiable. So there's definitely something there.
Impressive. Okay. So what's your goal for the year?
So 172 closed for this year, and pending probably like in Canada, there's a longer pending period. So when you end the year with with pendings, it's generally a big amount, and it starts your next year. So I want to have like 30 to 35 pendings. So total like 200 something deals for the year.
Okay. So what are you doing differently this year to do that, since you said things were a little off last year?
Yeah. So it's a great question. So like one of the things that I try to focus on and to kind of make sure that it's in my mind every day is I'm trying to add value for the client. When I started my career, I was, so to speak, a hunter. Like I know that term is really used, and it's not a really good term because you're always looking to you're not looking to get a lead and replace it. Yeah. You're not necessarily focused on creating value for your client. So although I get a lot of referrals because we still try to do a very good job, I'm trying to show people that care and actually care and see how I can make their lives better, and give them really good customer service. So that's something that I implemented last year, and then already this year we're seeing like big results from that. I mean, we've taken 20, I was counting with my assistant, 22 listings since the beginning of the year. And then we had a lot like pending from last year coming over. So anyways, we have a lot of stuff like coming from that. And I'm just thrilled. I mean, they're listings that they're coming from past clients, they're coming from referrals. So they're better type listings than if I was, let's say, having to close really hard on somebody who didn't want a broker. I mean, not that that's a problem, but they're not as good transactions often.
Yeah. So are you calling expireds as well?
So one of the things that I've found to do that is on the 1st of the month and 15th, if it's a big, those are the big days in the month of expireds, I have a driver show up in my office. I get in the back seat of my car, and he drives me around, and we start like early at 7, and I just go door knock those expireds and try to get in touch with them. Obviously, if it's hard for me, it's hard for other people to speak to expired. So, and they're always a good source of business. So I try to get in front of them, and if I can, book the appointment right there.
What percentage of your business is expireds?
So I didn't break that up, but so my past clients is 44% of my business last year. Okay, I did these numbers at the end of last year, and I should but I think it's 26% is prospecting in general.
Okay.
And I think only a few percent of that is expireds, and then the rest is people that sign calls and people calling off our marketing and stuff like that.
Okay. So newer agents getting into the business, or anyone that's just complacent, what's your advice for them?
Okay. So look, make it simple. Forget all that other stuff. And now I think it's intense because you have social media, you have Instagram, you have all these people telling you what to do, these really, really kind of quick fixes to being successful. I'm coached by the Mike Ferry organization. I don't know if you're of course, yeah, So one of the things that he teaches is a certain amount of scripts, which is prospecting scripts, pre-qualifying scripts, and presentation scripts. Okay. So anybody that's coming into the business, they don't have to focus on a million things. Number one, make yourself a schedule. Make yourself a productive schedule that includes prospecting in the morning before everybody starts running after you and wanting to talk to you. Okay? So that'd be the number one thing. And then make your schedule public. Give it to your wife, your girlfriend, give it to the people in your office, or like whoever, your friends, give it to your clients, give it to your role play partners, and make sure that they can say like, hey, were you supposed to be prospecting at this time?
Yeah.
So stick with your schedule, learn 2, 3 of the 7 or 8 prospecting scripts that Mike Ferry gives. Okay. Learn the 1-minute presentation, which is super simple. Learn the listing before that, learn the pre-qual, learn the 1-minute presentation and the Mike Ferry listing presentation, and you'll make more than 6 figures. That's it. You don't have to do anything else. You just keep a schedule, those scripts, do it every day. Forget it. You could really not be that good. And I don't consider myself super, super good. Doesn't really
Another humble person I'm interviewing. I think you're doing pretty well. So I bet if I asked you to repeat any script, right now, right?
Yeah, but I mean, even then, I'm not as good as I would like to be. Like objection handlers and stuff like that. But the fundamentals of those scripts, yeah. Listing presentation, like I said, you have to know those pretty much by heart. And one that I really like is the just listed, just sold.
Okay.
Like that's basically like, hi, I'm Mark from Sutton. I was coming to see you because I sold this house down the road. It sold for this amount of money. I had 4 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, and when one sells, others might come soon. So when are you planning on moving? And they're like, oh, I'm not planning on moving. You're like, oh, really? You have somebody like holding you for giving you information for real estate? No, I know my last real estate agent died. Okay, perfect. So like, do you want me to keep in touch? So you can have like all kinds of conversations, even though the people are not looking to sell.
Yeah.
Or buy anything. So.
Well, I love it. Well, thanks so much for coming on today. It was a pleasure.
Absolutely. Well, thanks for having me.